You come up in my hood with that coronavirus, you gonna get that the dunka virus on your beep. The Umbrella Corporation, the Maltese Cross, the coronavirus. What is the Umbrella Corporation? It's time to finally do Resident Evil. I promised for a long time I would do Resident Evil. Now it's time. We're going to have to call up Mila to save us from the pandemic. Resident Evil 1 starts out with the Maltese Cross, which is related through Templarism, of course, to the Masonic symbolism and the Masonic orders. Umbrella also has a relevance to British intelligence because British intelligence is often symbolized by these kind of carrying and wearing an umbrella. If you saw my analysis of The Avengers, not the movie from Marvel, but The Avengers with Uma Thurman, Ray Fine, and Sean Connery. But it's an image of MI6, SIS. So I think there's a kind of a crossover here between the corporate world, the Templar world, and mind control. That's really what this film is going to be about, but not just this film, the whole series. We're gonna breeze through this whole series. Going to try to make it as quick as I can because I want to hit on all the points. But Megacorp, this is the Illuminate confirmed Megacorp, the biggest corporation in the world. 9 out of 10 homes in the U.S. have Walmart. I mean Amazon. Umbrella Corporation products. It is a computer, biotech, viral weaponry. Quite a mix there, right? You've got loofahs, you've got soaps, you've got condoms, and you've got viral weaponry. Exactly what you would expect from the Umbrella Corporation. And they also just happen to be engaged in engineering and re-engineering DNA, RNA sequences. They exist in giant underground facilities. They are accessed through elite mansions. I mean, at this point, there's nothing that would be surprising to me. There's probably an elite mansion with a access point to a giant underground facility somewhere. And it's probably called Umbrella. I mean, we just saw this weirdness with the stuff in China, right? Everybody's seen this meme going around. No, it's not actually in Wuhan. That's not true. But the logo part is true, and that is interesting. Now, Mila in this, of course, Alice in Wonderland, clear mind control imagery there. She is part of a private security team, is what we learn, and she wakes up with amnesia. She's got the typical kind of mind control experimentation thing going on. She wakes up in the midst of a shower bathtub thing. We always see this in the mind control stuff too, where you emerge out of the bathtub as you're reawakening, you're awakening your new alter consciousness, etc., etc. And then we see her being accosted by a team of other private security dudes. She's then taken into a Rand Corporation underground tunnel. Yes, Rand Corporation has actual documents that detail the building and construction of these giant underground tunnels with trains. That's all real. They actually exist. Go look up the Rand Corporation documents. Even to the point of her wedding ring being staged, right? She has this wedding ring and she looks on the inside of the ring and it says property of the Umbrella Corporation. Now they get down in the hive in the first one, and we see the outbreak in the midst of the hive, right? So we kind of get this enclosed, alien style scenario, just like Ridley Scott Alien situation, and everything mutates, and there's all this ooey, gucky, gunky, squishy stuff everywhere. Again, very reminiscent of kind of Alien and Aliens. And then we find out that it's not just the aliens. The zombies that we're dealing with. We also got to deal with the AI killing machine, who is pictured as a kind of female goddess, the Red Queen. And you'll notice always in these films, the AI is a female goddess type of character. We find out that Mila is part of the Nemesis program and that she has been pre-programmed. All this kind of stuff, which does exist to some degree at least, right? Now, as I pointed out, the main point of MK Ultra was not to just create super soldiers and to turn Mila Jovovich into a assassin who would save us from the Wu flu, but rather to use those techniques that are studied on the individual level and apply it to the mass social sphere. We then find out that actually this was the T virus, and it turns out the T virus is part of the experimentation, we'll learn later on, that's released on purpose. Interesting given recent headlines. Mila, of course, is also part of a super soldier program. Don't forget that. The Nemesis program is not just involving Mila and her alters and her clones. We find out later, clones in the underground base, like Gucci Mane got a clone. Xena LaVey is the clone of Taylor Swift, who is the... I'm joking. That's obviously nonsense. I don't know why that's one of the dumbest conspiracy theories. All the rappers and artists, they're all clones. Really? I mean, there could be these underground bases with clones. I don't think that that's true, but is anything going to be surprising? We're at the stage where I think nothing will be surprising. So, moving on to section Resident Evil 2, we get the whole city is a test. It's released at Raccoon City, which represents, just Middle America. Maybe kind of looks like New York a little bit in some places. I don't know. It's just generic town America. We see the suburbs. It's released in the suburbs. This one is titled Apocalypse, and so we're getting these sort of end-time scenario meaning, symbols and terms and messages. Alice, we find out, is cloned, and she is a bigger project. And guess what? She's got a chip in her head, and that chip links up to a satellite. Satellites that link to microchips in our heads. And then we find out that Mila has been engineered with some autism. She got some of the Asperger's going on, meaning she ain't got no emotions. Her emotions has been shut off so that she could be effective assassins. so that she could be an effective assassin. I get into these characters, I can't talk right. So that she can be an effective assassin. Now it's starting to get a little more intense, isn't it? Wait a minute. Oh, it's not just Project Nemesis, Project Alice. What's Project Alice? Well, we move to Resident Evil 3, and we see it zooming in on Mila's eye. Eliminate, confirm. And once again, we return to the beginning of the film in part 1 with Mila waking up in the shower in the mansion. And she moves past the giant black angel statue, and we notice her clone being killed. Then we find out, there's a whole bunch of Umbrella facilities. Alice is a cloning program to create the new humanity. It's starting to get more and more coherent, isn't it? So, super soldier programs related to biometrics, human engineering, GMO, biowarfare, DARPA type stuff, MK Ultra, all explained in the John Marks text that we covered many years ago. Go listen to my in-depth analysis of John Marks' book, The CIA and the Search for Manchurian Candidate. Famous book. Last chapter in that book deals with this stuff, the fact that DARPA is the real continuation of MK Ultra. And I've shown many times the talks and lectures I've done, even to the point of the satellites and the chips, right? This is what Elon Musk, Melon, you know who I'm talking about. I'm not talking about Jeff Stein-Effrey. I'm talking about Melon Musk. Elon Musk. Project Alice is a plan to create the new human. Are you seeing the pattern here? This whole series, which you think was just goofy billion-dollar video game franchise turned into movies. It's actually about the real plan. It's actually about what's really going on. Here, the virus spreads to animals. We find tests going on out in the Area 51 area. I think it's near Area 51. I think it takes Mila takes us not to like it's not Mormon Mila. It's Mila out at Salt Lake City, right, doing something. She's looking for the underground facility there. No, she's looking for safety, right? They're trying to get away to some island, Shell Beach, I don't know. And so the interesting aspect of part 3 is the Vegas scene, right? They're in Vegas. Vegas has been demolished. This is the land of leisure. The land of leisure is now a dystopian wasteland. Animals are infected, and Mila is evolving. Environmental pressures have been put on Mila and the Project Alice clones to evolve her through environmental pressures. This is what the elite talk about. I've done multiple lectures on the top elite, 40 plus in the last 2-3 years, and we've seen many of them. Atali, Salk, Bertrand Russell, they talk about intentionally putting environmental stressors to provoke and engineer and propel evolution, and that's what is going on with them. Umbrella is doing that here. The private international megacorp that runs everything and owns everything is pushing Mila, right, to become what she is in Fifth Element, right? Like the next higher status of evolution. Right? In Fifth Element, she's the ether. She's the fifth element. She is the fifth element, right? And she's recreated. And she is the feminine Sophia principle. Well, Mila is evolving in this, right? This is the whole point of the project. The Umbrella Corporation is not just engaging in a giant transhumanism experiment. They are putting these pressures on Mila, and they own Mila. International corporate control owning your RNA and DNA sequences. Oh, wait a minute. That actually happens. That's real. That's been going on for decades. DNA being stored away in Pentagon databases from your birth. Oh, you didn't know that? Yes, that's all real. That's been in mainstream news. That's CNN has reported that. Now, so it turns out that the chip is activated. Mila's kind of under the control of Umbrella still. And then we have the breakaway civilization with all of these underground bases. Not just underground bases, we find out, actually entire underground cities. Entirely fake controlled environments. This is weird because this reminds me of not just the Soviet era of like the illegals and how they would create fake suburbs to train their illegals in the Directorate S illegals programs, but the recent news in the last 5 or 10 years of China's big fake cities. Fake Paris, big fake cities, and what? I mean, I don't know. Who knows what that is? Why that is, we don't know. Does it relate to the T virus that's now running loose? And by the way, in Resident Evil 6, the video game, it's the C virus coming out of a certain place in China. Exactly. So I don't know exactly, but it's interesting that when we move to part 4, 5, where are we at? 4, 5, yeah. We see these giant fake stage environments. That might be part 6, part 5. Anyway, long story short, big fake cities, fake Paris, France, that's real. Alice is in Wonderland again, fighting the Red Queen. The Red Queen is running simulations. So now we have Gil Bates, you know what I'm talking about, right? Running giant simulations. Like he talked about the recent Wolflu being the simulations. We also notice too that when she wakes up, the symbol is also like a mandala. And a mandala can be also image the 4 points of your consciousness, right? If you think of the mandala. It also represents a spider's web. So shout out to Jamie for noticing that. I never noticed that when Mila wakes up under the spell of the Umbrella Corporation, that she's caught in the web of Umbrella. And then we find her running around this giant Cold War facility, giant underground cities, Cold War facilities. And we see that Umbrella, according to Wesker, has intentionally sold the various bioweapons products to the West and to China, to Russia, right? They are above the nation states, manipulating the countries into conflicts. Big level psyops, illuminate, confirm. Turns out the AI is now ready to kill everybody by this time, and Mila has to, team up with like Wesker's. But conclusion, we move on to the finality of Resident Evil, and there are pokies that are necessary. Interesting. That comes up as something that is involved in the Illuminate Umbrella Corporation conspiracy. The world is coming to an end, and it's been orchestrated. Yes, we have turns out the original bad guy, Captain Friendzone from Game of Thrones. Remember Captain Friendzone? Well, he's been cloned, and he is still the leader of the Umbrella Corporation. And he says it was all Depop. It was all to get rid of all the humans and to establish a new humanity. Here we go. Project Noah, once again, constantly comes up in movies all the way back to Moonraker and older. Yes, and I think that's because this is real. There is a real, I don't know how it's going to go down. I'm not trying to say that, but there is a real plan to restart things, have a controlled salvation, a breakaway civilization that will restart civilization in an Ark Noah, Project Noah type situation. And we find out that the Umbrella Corporation has deliberately released the T-virus. No shockers there. That's what we knew all along. Alice is the model for the new humanity and the new heavens and the new earth, wherein she will be immortal. She will achieve immortality through the links to the satellites, the transhumanism, the AI, the brain chips, and the cloning. And so therefore, the Captain Friendzone sees himself as God. He is the creator of the new humanity. And it's a Noah's Ark, we find, as she descends into the hive facility for the elite. If you're rich and elite, you paid the money, you are either cryogenically frozen or cloned, right? And neural link via eye. You can link in through your eye. Interesting, the DARPA brain interface stuff there. And so what do we have with this? We have, again, in ways I would even say, as goofy as this series is, it's actually more revealing than movies like Eyes Wide Shut. I mean, we think of Eyes Wide Shut as like, oh, that's the great, conspiracy film that reveals the whole plot. I mean, it does in many ways, but only in one slice of life, only in the slice of rich, elite, occult types. But there's more to the plan than just rich, elite, occult types putting things in their butts. There is a lot more here. And the real plan is to become gods, to start the world over. Resident Evil has all of this, even to the level of the occult stuff, because if you remember in the third installment, she finds a group of Satanists. And we know they're Satanists because there's an inverted cross and an inverted pentagram when they try to kidnap and kill Mila, which of course is a mistake. And then you get the greasy hellhounds that they release to try to take out Mila. It doesn't work. But what do we have here? We have all of the conspiracy. We have the tech, the transhumanism. We have all the elements, the biowarfare, the DARPA, the mind control, the AI. It's all in this series. And yeah, what a timely series given recent news stories. I'm Jay Dyer of Jay's Analysis. If you like this analysis, if you enjoyed my take on Resident Evil, the film series, of course, the games are good too, I have to say. In the games, you have a great critique of the social Darwinian perspective, materialism, right? Same ideas that do come to the fore in the movie. The finale of the film series, you have the guy becomes a kind of a crazy evangelical, right? The head of the corporation. But I don't think it's necessarily anti-Christian per se, because the guy is just reading Christianity as a allegory. He's reading it as a plan to not just do Noah's Ark, but also to have a fake resurrection through cloning and technology and an engineered apocalypse. So it's not that he's intentionally an evil Christian. It's that he sees Christianity, as I think many of the elite do, kind of a allegory, a myth for using tech to discover the secrets of nature and thereby to achieve apotheosis through techne. That's what's going on here, I think. And let's not forget that in Resident Evil 4, the most famous and enjoyed of the video game series, who's running the Illuminate Confirm? A Spanish midget, which is probably who really runs it. Thank you.